Yeah, this is Birgit Haugen with Superscum.com, and we are here at the Marquis Theater in Denver, Colorado with Charles Elliott, guitarist and vocalist of Abysmal Dawn.
Yep.
How has the tour been going so far? Only 3 days in, but...
Yeah, it's good. Like you said, it's only 3 days in, but it's been good so far, so I think it's going to be an awesome tour. You know, it's like one of the purest death metal packages that's been that's toured the U.S. I think in a while. I mean, we have nothing against with touring other bands or anything. It's just kind of cool, I guess, that it hasn't been done in a while. That you know, just a pure death metal package has been out. So I think it's gonna be fun.
Now, it's been quite a while since you guys been in Colorado, and you actually had scheduled a couple warm-up gigs before the Cataclysm tour, but then it got canceled. Why?
I can't remember. I think All Shall Perish. Their bus broke down, or their van broke down out to the first couple shows, so they had to cancel, and the promoter canceled the rest of the dates. So yeah.
And on that note, how was the Cataclysm run?
That was awesome. That was maybe the best tour we've ever done. Just really cool to play something, I guess, diverse, you know, and still have kids go crazy over what we're doing, you know. And all the bands crossed over really well, which we weren't sure, you know, how it would go over. You know, sometimes you have like death metal elitists that are, you know, like, I don't know, it's got to be pure death metal, or, you know, or there's these kids that are just trendy and don't give a fuck about anything else, you know, if it's not, I don't know,
pure enough, or hard enough,
or hardcore enough, you know what I mean? Like, not as kind of trendy sounding, or not trendy, because, but if it's not newer, or, you know, not the latest sound, you know, they're not into it, I guess. So it was cool to have like a mix of younger bands and like older bands, and, you know, straight up death metal, and I guess some deathcore, hardcore influences, you know. So all the bands got around great. It was an amazing tour. So
Leveling the Plane of Existence came out again on Relapse on February 1st. What was the inspiration for that title?
Well, I guess I had the title for a while. It's sort of it deals with kind of setting the planet back to zero and starting over again, and at the same time I was going through a lot of personal stuff in my life, so I guess it was about, you know, renewal for me as well. So it worked on a bunch of different levels. So yeah.
And this album also was with a brand new lineup. And I know that Scott, your drummer, tried out for you before but didn't make the cut. Why did he make the cut this time? What was different?
Well, first of all, it's not completely brand new, because Mike played on Program to Consume as well, our bass player. Scott, I don't know. Well, initially we had another guy playing for us that came out to try out after Terry left, that was friends with our guitar player Ian at the time, and both Scott and the other dude, sorry, he played for us for a while. No offense, Ken. Sorry, no offense, Ken. He's playing in Abigail Williams now, and so is Ian. But they were both good friends, and it was more like Ian was friends with Ken, and I think Ken had a little bit more time to prepare, so he was more like ready for the gig when he came down. And yeah, I mean, that was pretty much it. I mean, Scott, I was kind of leaning towards Scott, honestly, when he first came down, and like I said, you know, well, there was already that history though between Ian, our old guitar player, and the drummer Ken, so we ended up going with him. But, you know, when he saw that we were looking for a drummer again, he hit me up and he's like, "Hey, I'm still interested," and you know, came down and tried out again, nailed everything, and started writing the record. That was it. I mean, you know, he's really enthusiastic, really into the band, and that's what we're looking for. So you
started writing the record before you even had a drummer. why did you start the process? I think you use Guitar Pro.
Yeah.
And I was shocked because my son nobody uses Guitar Pro. I'm like, oh, here you go, Charles. Everybody's using Pro Tools. And you kind of started recording, and then when Scott came in, he kind of did his part. But why did you even start the whole thing before you even had a new drummer?
Well, the material's definitely different from our previous stuff. So we wanted to show where we're sort of headed musically, and I wanted to step up the drums, so I wanted to show people, what was needed of them, basically. That was basically why, I wanted to demo stuff out a little bit more and have people prepared before we enter the studio and express a more complete idea before I presented it to a drummer, rather than just, and the stuff's a little more technical too, so it's harder to convey, certain, like, all right, first you do a drum roll, you go, and you go, it's like, it's fucking retarded to be in there in the studio and try and explain this to a drummer when you're not a drummer.
Right.
So I just started, demoing the stuff that way, and then when he got in the band, we just jammed out most of the stuff in the studio, and maybe like half the stuff, we kind of just wrote on the spot. Because he kind of already had the style we were looking for, and that was it. He just kind of fit, and it worked out perfectly.
Now, do all of you guys write, or are you the main guy?
I'm the main guy. Mike also wrote some riffs on the record as well, and Scott contributed with drum ideas. But I write all the lyrics, and then usually get together with Scott and sort of like arrange the songs. And Mike he'll show me these riffs, and we incorporate them in the music, and that's usually how we work. Yeah.
Now the new album also seems more melodic in a sense. What is your take on that statement? Melodic death metal. I know but you know what I mean, right?
Yeah. I think we tried to make it a little bit more like catchy. I don't know. There's a little bit more melody, I guess, in it than wanted to kind of like combine our first record from Ashes, which is really melodic, and Program to Consume, which is a little more brutal and darker sounding. And this one, we wanted to combine that sort of and like make the songs maybe a little more concise and like catchy. It's not as Swedish sounding, I guess, as like our first album. It's kind of. I remember we got compared to like Black Dahlia Murder a lot, just because we were an American band doing sort of like the melodic death metal sound, but with a little more brutal aspect to it. So I don't know. We just, but I just felt like all our records are really different. I think they all stand out apart from each other.
Now, this was also the first one that, coincidentally, Hate Eternal is also on that bill here, that Eric produced. I used the first album with him. Are you satisfied with the end result?
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. He didn't actually produce the album, though. He mixed the album, yeah. We went to John Haddad for the drums and reamping, who we go to every time. And then we also went to my friend Mike Baer, who played bass on From Ashes, our first record, and did some session work with the band. He produced it for the most part. We recorded all the guitars and vocals and all that, and then Eric mixed it and did an awesome job too.
Now, is that because you started recording the album, or started the process in May, but didn't finish until like September, October? Is that the reason why it took so long?
Well, yeah, we went to a couple different studios. We, on top of being really anal and about everything, we had some mishaps where files got lost and we had to start over, and so that's why it took so long, basically.
Cover songs. A lot of bands these days use cover songs to fill up an album. Is that anything that you guys ever talked about, or?
We actually tried, or we did talk about doing some cover songs for this album, but we didn't have any time in the studio left. we ran out of time to track drums, and then we just said fuck it. You know, we just couldn't do it. You know, I think Scott wanted to just go in there and nail it. We're like, man, just spend the time on our music, you know. So we didn't have that much time. But yeah, we talked about covering like DNR by Testament, and then maybe Death Pull the Plug or something. Just as like cool bonus track or something to have extra. I don't know. We in the old days, the only song we ever covered was Disincarnate, Stench of Paradise Burning, and that was like. Right. Yeah, so yeah.
Well, and speaking of other bands, you had Moises from Christian and Cragen from Heathen do guest parts on the album. Why those two, and why period?
Well, I guess, you know, when I started writing the record and was looking for another guitar player, I've been talking to Cragen about maybe like playing on the album and doing tours with us and stuff, and I've always liked his playing a lot. You know, he's a great guitar player, really underrated, and you know, I've known him for a while. So yeah. So that didn't work out though, because he's busy with Heathen, and we don't make a lot of money when we tour. You know, it's just, you know, a lot of stuff. You know, it's like I'm like, man. So how do you feel about sleeping on top of merchandise and guitar cabinets? Like, and then, you know, coming home with maybe a little something, but yeah, I don't know. Didn't really work out, but I really wanted him to play on the record, you know, and kind of both those guys, you know, kind of helped alleviate some of the stress that I had when we were recording, because we're missing a deadline, and then we had to re-record stuff. And I didn't have all the lyrics or leads done, so, you know.
So it was your fault.
Yeah, pretty much, you know. Like, so I was just like, guys, can you help me out? Like, I always really wanted him to play on the record. I mean, Cragen's style complements my style perfectly. You know, we have kind of similar styles. And Moises, I've always liked his style. We toured with him. It was 6 Feet Under, Decapitated in 2006.
Your video service in time, service off time.
In service of time.
In service of time. I knew there was an in and an off in there. I read that the label did not have a budget for a video, so you wanted fans to come up with something. What's the progress of that?
Well, I don't know. We had some people that hit us up. We'll see what comes of it. You know, like, I want to do something. You know, I understand, like, times are tough, and, you know, record companies aren't making what they used to. Bands definitely aren't making what they used to. So, you know, we're trying to find a creative way around it and see if someone wants to help us out and do a video, and hopefully something cool. I don't know. We had a couple of people get in touch with us, and nothing's really
materialized.
Yet, but we'll see what happens.
And speaking of tough times, you recently started guitar lessons doing over Skype and also in person. Is that something you do to complement your income, or is it because you want to teach to use?
Yeah. No, I mean, it's yeah. Maybe a little of both, you know, like, don't always make much money, but, you know, like, I enjoy teaching, and, you know, it's it helps my playing too, you know, when I sit down and I break things down for people and stuff like that. So yeah, it's just a cool thing to do, I think. Yeah.
And again, speaking of money though too, these days it's really not easy as a band to stay afloat. What can the fan do to actually help their favorite recording artist?
Buy a shit ton of merch. Pretty much. I mean, I come out to the shows, obviously, and support the bands, but I mean, and I know it's hard for everyone too, because, you know, you work hard, and then you want to relax, and you want to come to a show, you want to enjoy yourself, you want to get fucked up, you want to get wasted, you want to spend all your money in beer, but there's also these bands that came to entertain you that are getting paid shit, and they're driving, you know, 800 miles or whatever to show, and so, and gas keeps going up. You know, it's tough. Like, we make it work, but, you know, like, we're
buy merch. Buy merch.
You know, and then we always appreciate it when, you know, people hang out with us and, like, let us crash to their houses and stuff like that, and so that's cool. Yeah.
So what is next for Abysmal Dawn after this tour?
We don't have anything really lined up. I think we might start writing when we get back. We've been trying to go to Europe. Early
follow-up question too. When do your European fans ever going to get to see you?
We hope summer of 2012. We're trying. We're seeing what comes about, but not sure yet.
A couple personal questions, if you don't mind.
That depends.
Boxers or briefs? No.
None.
Ooh.
No, that's not true.
There was a word for that.
Commando.
Commando.
Yeah,
here you go. No. Are you originally from LA?
Yes.
You used to play in a band called Rice.
Yeah.
How did that? You just were the guitarist. Was that one of your projects too?
No, that's a band that's been around LA for a really long time. I was a fan of the band.
Death metal?
Yeah, I mean, they're like blackened death metal, like keyboards and stuff. They used to be like kind of straight up death metal, and then became more symphonic and stuff. And yeah, I don't know. I played in the band for a while.
Just decided to do your own stuff.
Yeah, just didn't really work out, and I don't know. Just didn't really feel like it was right for me, because I kind of came from a band where I was a major part of it, and then I joined another band, that I liked, but it just didn't. You felt like a void there, like when you're not writing and contributing as much.
Right.
And I'm a hands-on guy too, like I take care of a lot of aspects of the band and stuff like that. So, and that band I just play guitar.
While you were growing up in LA, how has the metal scene changed from when you were younger? What is that, 18 years ago? No. When you were younger.
Whoa. How old do you think I am?
When you were younger until now.
I mean, the local scene is a lot better. The whole metal scene in general is a lot better. I mean, when I was growing up in, 90s or late 90s, like no one was really listening to death metal. I mean, there was some fans, but like in my high school, there's hardly anyone. But yeah, just growing up, people didn't really support local shows at all. I feel like that's better, and I don't know.
Nobody went to Steel Panther at the House of Blues.
That I don't know. Is that real metal? Honestly, no. It's kidding.
Well, they used to be
entertaining as shit.
I mean, Metal Skull. I remember them as Metal Skull.
We actually listen to that in the van all the time. Scott will not turn Asian Hooker off. I hear that like a million fucking times a day, almost. Yeah, I think he went to go see them too. Like not too long. I saw them. I don't know, a couple years ago for the first time, just by chance, and yeah, it was a fun show. They talk a lot of shit, so it's fun, and there's a lot of stupid drunk girls that are flashing their boobs everywhere, and so that's kind of an added bonus, I guess.
Any last words to your fans?
Fucking
buy merch.
Buy merch. If not, buy me a cheeseburger. I'm starving. Not really. Yeah. But yeah, just support metal, and that's my phone. So I guess I gotta go.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you.